그 교수님께서 한국 사회는 대학 문화가 좀 다르다라는 얘기를 하셔서 거기로 좀 돌아가 볼까 하는데 한국에서 굉장히 핫했던 드라마가 있습니다. 스카이캐슬이라고 상위 0.1%의 부모들이 자신의 자녀를 정말 좋은 대학에 보내기 위해서 또 최고로 만들기 위해서 고군분투하는 내용을 다룬 드라마인데요. 실제로 이런 일이 있었을 거다. 정말 공감하는 분들이 많았거든요. 미국에도 좀 비슷한 사례가 있는지 궁금해요.
Yes, and I've heard about Skycastle, and I want to watch it now. I'm looking forward to watching it because I think the message of Skycastle is very close to the message of my book, The Tyranny of Merit. We had a scandal not long ago that illustrated this. There was a corrupt college consultant who offered parents, affluent parents, some of them celebrities, with students who were applying to college, but who didn't quite qualify for the top universities. He offered them corrupt ways, if they paid him money, to falsify their applications, to enable them to take SAT exams, entrance exams, with proctors he paid off to correct their answers. He even created false pictures of the student applicants showing that they were great athletes, because athletic performance sometimes helps for admission to American universities. So this was a scandal. The parents and this corrupt consultant were prosecuted. The FBI investigated, and they brought charges against these parents. What's interesting is that the parents, many of them, did not tell their children what they were doing. They didn't want their children to know. They wanted their children to believe that they had been admitted on the basis of their own merit.
According to recent public opinion polls, only half of Koreans believe that you can be successful. I mean, even if your parents are not really successful or poor.
Yes. Well, it is interesting, and I've heard this phrase, tell me if I have it right, that a dragon can rise from a stream.
Exactly.
So that's the Korean version of the American dream of rising from rags to riches. The dream of upward mobility. What's interesting about that poll, the poll that you mentioned, and I've read about it as well, many Koreans don't believe that anymore that dragons can rise from a stream. Actually, I think that this awareness of the limited opportunities for mobility, especially if you come from a poor family, this awareness is a good thing because it's the beginning of what could be a public debate about how to achieve a more just society, a more fair society. In the US, when similar opinion polls are conducted, it's interesting. Most Americans continue to believe that it's possible to rise from rags to riches, that a dragon can come from a stream. Most Americans say, yes, that's true. Despite this fact, the belief in the American dream persists.
근데 현실은 그렇지 않은데도 불구하고 미국인들은 왜 아직까지도 아메리칸 드림을 그렇게 믿고 있다고 기대하고 있는 건가요?
There's also the fact that America is an immigrant society. And so many families are aware that their parents or grandparents arrived as immigrants, often with almost nothing. And they worked hard and they sacrificed so that their children could get an education and could succeed and rise. So in many ways, the continued American faith and belief in the American dream of upward mobility is not an adequate response to the inequalities that we've seen in recent decades, nor is the promise of attending university and rising an adequate response to inequality. We need to broaden our approach to inequality. We need to broaden our debate about the meaning of a fair society, to focus not only on individual mobility, but also on creating a sense of community, a sense of solidarity, a sense of obligation for those less fortunate than ourselves. This ethic of community, the sense that we are all in this together, that's the only way to deal with the effects of inequality.
근데 사실 중요한 거는 그거잖아요. 그러니까 아까도 얘기가 나왔지만 이렇게 뭐 돈을 더 올려준다든지 사회 복지를 더 증가를 시켜준지 뭐 이런 시스템적인 부분도 중요하지만 그 사회 구성원이 내가 이 사회에서 얼마나 필요한 사람인가를 깨달을 수 있게끔
맞아요.
넌 정말 이 사회에서 아주 중요한 역할을 하고 있어. 이 이야기를 계속 해줘야 된다는 거거든요.
And this is what we've seen in the United States with the populist backlash against elites. The populist backlash against elites draws on the anger and resentment of many working people who feel they are looked down upon and that their opportunities to rise are not what they were. And I think this contributed to the election in 2016 of Donald Trump, who ran a campaign appealing to people's anger and resentment. White voters without a college degree, in 2016, 2/3 voted for Donald Trump. And in 2020, 2/3 voted for Donald Trump. After one of his victories in the early primaries, he declared in his victory speech what may seem like a strange phrase. He said, "I love the poorly educated." And what he meant by that was he understood that many working people felt looked down upon by elites, by college-educated elites, professional elites, meritocratic elites. So I think a lot of the reason for the persisting support among working people for Donald Trump is not that he made them better off economically. He didn't, for the most part. I think it has more to do with the fact that he articulated the sense of resentment they feel, the sense of being looked down upon.